Okay, so this is day 2 of 11.3. We're just doing some real world, a couple of small short examples, but before we do, we're starting with a warm-up quiz, which I want to have you do at home if you're listening, if you're there looking at this video. So here's the homework quiz. Go ahead, pause, run through these, and then come back and check your work. And do we have an answer for number 1? I hear -2. Anyone have -2? And what other answer? Any other answer? Johnny? -3. Anyone else with that? -3? Got 2 people with that. Got 2 people, or got a number of people with -2. Any other answers? Kyle? 3. Anyone with 3? We now have -3, 3, and -2. And we haven't heard the correct answer yet. So this is a really important question. You might want to highlight or put in your notes. Oh, good. Now we have other volunteers. Hank, what do you have? -5/2. Anyone agree with that one? Not yet. That's not right.
-10.
-10. Anyone else with -10? Nope. Sabrina? -20. These sound related, don't they? Got the 2 and the 10 and now the 20. Nope. Haven't heard it yet. Okay, let's see what happens. What's the first thing you've got to do with this, Jack? What's the first thing?
No solution.
Very good. No solution. Okay, so obviously a very important question. Okay, what is the first step in solving an equation like this, Ellie? Add 4. So she's saying isolate the radical. The goal is to isolate the radical, right? So we end up with 2 square root of x plus 11 equals -6. And then what would you do next, Ellie?
I divide by 2.
Good, because she's isolating that radical. I'm trying to move this stuff out of the way for a second.
Oh, yeah.
Move it down. Okay, so when we divide both sides by 2, good job, that's a great idea, we end up with the square root of x plus 11 equals -3. Now, I've told you that when you have a radical in an equation, the sign for that root is in front of the radical. When you don't see a sign, what is the sign in front of that radical? It's a positive. They're asking for the principal root. Now, if I just gave you an expression like this, like what's the square root of 81? I mean, if I ask a 7th grader what would be a good answer there? Or? Plus or minus 9. I mean, there's 2 square roots. We talk about that, right? But when it's in an equation, if they want you to take the negative root, what do they have to put in front of that radical? The negative. They've got to put it there. In some of your homework problems, you had subtracting this radical expression. And you did those fine because the subtraction was there. When you don't see the positive sign in front of the radical, but this is an equation, then you have to take the principal root, the positive root. So is there ever a principal root that will equal a negative value? No, so we just stop right there. And we say there's no solution. Okay, so highlight that with a little pink or yellow or orange or green or something, and make sure you look at that before your test. There is a quiz tomorrow on everything through this 11.3, so you want to make sure you're strong with the no solution ones too. Okay, so number 2. How do we solve that one? Vivian?
You square them to.
Okay, so she wants to square both sides of this equation, so we're squaring the whole thing, leaving us with 2x minus 29 equals x minus 11.
And then I added 29 to both sides.
Added 29 to both sides. And what does that give you?
2x equals x plus 18. And then I subtracted the x from both sides.
Subtracted x from both sides, giving you, I'm running out of room again. Let me extend this. Or I'll extend it this way. And so when you subtract x, subtract 1x, you have x equals 18. Did anyone else get that? X equals 18. Okay, and of course you could check your work in the equation. You could check your answer in the equation. Those of you who chose -2 up at the very first one, you know, if you check that in the equation, it won't work. Let's see, -2 plus 11 is, and the square root of 9 is, and 2 times 3 is 6 minus 4, is that -10? 6 minus 4? No. Negative 6 minus 4, yes, but not 6 minus 4. Okay, and let's look at the last one, number 3. John, what do you have? And Matthew, what do you have?
I have 3.
Anyone else have that? X equals 3? Oh, good, a lot of people have that. Let's see. What's the first step, Matthew?
You square both sides.
So square and square. And we end up with 3 plus 2x equals x squared.
And then I've got 3 plus 2x and
So he subtracts these terms from both sides to set the equation equal to 0. Good. And then you have what type of equation? Quadratic equation. So now we have 5 strategies. Do you want to graph? Factor?
Yes.
Complete the square? Use the quadratic formula? Or just take square roots? That strategy of just taking square roots won't work here because we have a middle term, right? So, okay, so Matthew, what are the factors?
X plus 1 and x minus 3.
So what are your values for x?
Negative 1 and 3.
So we have negative 1 or 3, and why did you choose 3?
Because negative 1.
Okay, so look at, if we plug negative 1 in the original, we have that same situation we had in number 1, right? Where you have some principal radical equals a negative. So negative 1 is extraneous for the same reason. So for day 2 of 11.3, we're simply using real world equations, radical equations.
Yes.
So you do not need to write this in your notes. It's in the book if you want to see it. We're just going to simply walk through it. When you're asked to solve real world radical equations, they just give you this gift. Here's a radical equation. Read all about it, and you're probably going to have to substitute something somewhere, right, in order to solve it. And then use what you learned already about solving radical equations. So here's a real world problem. The hull speed, s, in nautical miles per hour of a sailboat can be estimated using this formula. Here it is, a little gift. The speed equals 1.34 times the square root of L. So what is L? L is the length of the sailboat's water line, right here, as shown. So find the length, find the L of the sailboat's water line. Find the length of the sailboat's water line if it has a hull speed of 8 nautical miles per hour. Okay, so we simply start with the Oscar. Start with the. Is Cassandra giving you a hard time over there? Oh. Equals 1.34 square root of L. If you have been told now the sailboat's going 8 nautical miles per hour, what letter are we substituting for? S. So we plug it in, plug it in.
Sounds like elevator.
And what do we do to isolate the radical? Haley? Would you square both sides right now? You could, I guess, but would you subtract? Are we adding 1.34 to square root of L? What is this operation going on between 1.34 and the radical? Right. This is multiplication. So we're going to divide. So divide both sides by 1.34. And we get something bigger than 4. Because 8 divided by 2 is 4, right? So let me bring up the little calculator. And we have 8 divided by 1.34.
What's the?
Just do it a little divide sign.
What are you doing?
The video's still
What's going on? The video's still going on. Okay.
So it equals 5.9, and 5.97 would round actually to 6. So let's just call it 6 equals square root of L. So finish it for us, Vivian.
36.
She says square both sides. Good. So we're squaring both sides, which means 36 equals the length of this bow. Okay? So today in this assignment, you're simply given a gift. It's a radical equation. You need to carefully read, pull out the correct information, substitute, and then solve the way we've been solving. So you really need no further notes. I do want to tell you about, okay, so we have a quiz tomorrow through 11.3. We have this assignment for 11.3 day 2. And then I'm passing out a packet today that is a little bit thick to begin our cumulative review for the end of the year. So we have quite a little bit of time before the end of the year still, but you will be taking a cumulative final for the whole course, algebra. This is a high school level algebra course. So if you lose this packet, which has, as you can see, a lot of pages, and need a replacement packet, it will cost you $1, so please don't lose it. Make sure your name is on the front of it today, and due on Wednesday are the first few pages. Now, this is a review, this is a practice opportunity. You may talk to people about how to solve a problem in this packet, right? If you have to stop and talk to somebody about how to do something in this packet, I would get a highlighter out and highlight that. When you do your actual final review the couple days before the cumulative final, you want to look at those things that were tricky for you when you went through them in this packet, right? If they are tricky, you have a lot of resources. You can see me. You can come on Wednesday afternoons. I have regular hours then, and I'm here most days in the afternoon. You can look at Class Zone for that section. You can look in your math concept book for that section, your textbook. Your workbook has extra problems. If you choose to use that to do some studying, you can come and see me and I can check the work for you. So there's lots of ways for you to review. But you've got to take care of yourself. So where you have problems, highlight it and seek a little extra enrichment in that area so you can be super strong in your algebra. I would keep this packet too and use it in your future when getting ready for the SAT and things like that, which is packed with Algebra 1. Okay, questions? Those of you taking a high school placement test, and if any of you are, this is going to really help you there too.